वेलकम सर। विनीता मैम स्टार्ट करें। To all of you, all the participants, it's an extreme honor to I'm Dr. Syed Mubin Zehra and I will be moderating this session, and it's an extreme honor to welcome speaker, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor K.G. Suresh, who's currently the Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication. I welcome you all on this day one 2-week online interdisciplinary refresher course, bilingual, on the topic, and the title of our refresher course is The Quintessential Educator: Challenges and Opportunities in the Changing World. उत्कृष्ट शिक्षक बदलती दुनिया में चुनौतियां और अवसर. On behalf of Atmaram Sanatan Dhan College, University of Delhi, accredited grade A NAC and All India ranked 13th in NIRF ranking, and along with the Ministry of Education, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teaching and Training, along with TLC Ramanujan College, University of Delhi, it gives me an extreme honor to welcome Professor K.G. Suresh, and we should start with the second lecture of day one. Before we begin and have this enlightening lecture with Professor Suresh, I would like to introduce our speaker, Professor Suresh. Professor K.G. Suresh is a senior journalist. He's a columnist, educationist, a socio-political commentator, and communication strategist. He is currently serving as Vice Chancellor, as I already mentioned, of Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication, Bhopal, which is Asia's first and India's oldest and largest media university. Sir has also served as Director General of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, India's premier media training institution, and IIMC saw a great vibrant change during his tenure. He's been a senior consulting editor with Doordarshan News, India's public news broadcaster. He's been the founder dean of School of Modern Media, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, UPES, Dehradun. He's also the editorial consultant with Asianet News Network, chief political correspondent with PTI India, and group media advisor to Dalmia Bharat Enterprises Limited. He's been with these responsibilities also. Sir is the recipient of the prestigious Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi Award for outstanding contribution to journalism by the Kendriya Hindi Sansthan, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Sir, in recognizing his commitment to creating awareness on media literacy, recently the state government of Madhya Pradesh has nominated Sir as a member of its COVID advisory committee, along with Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi and leading doctors, and it's headed by the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. Professor Suresh is also he's also a member of various academic universities and committees. He's also a member of the Academic Council of the prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Society of Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute, Kolkata, Research Committee of ICCSSR. He's on the governing body of Consortium for Educational Communication, UGC, governing body Vigyan Prasar, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Advisory Council, Delhi School of Journalism, University of Delhi, Academic Council of Central University of Himachal Pradesh, and the School Board of Rabindranath Tagore School of Creative Arts and Communication Studies, Assam University, Silchar also. Sir has also been on various awards and selection committees. He has co-chaired various program advisory committee of National Council for Science and Technology. Professor Suresh has also been an emeritus professor at Jagran Lake City University, APJ Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi. He's been an honorary professor with APJ Staya University, India's first liberal arts university. It's a great pleasure to mention here that as the DG of IIMC, Professor Suresh gave a major push to Indian languages, Indian language journalism at the prestigious institute, and he introduced Marathi and Malayalam journalism, and it has its branches at Amravati, Maharashtra, and Kottayam, Kerala campus respectively. Besides upgrading the certificate course and certificate program in Urdu also at Delhi campus to a full-fledged postgraduate program, diploma program, and launching an advanced certificate program in Sanskrit journalism also. He also set up the Department of Indian Language Journalism apart from the Department of New Media. Due to his untiring efforts, IIMC obtained a letter of intent from UGC to be a deemed university status under the then over category. His major other initiatives have been establishment of Community Radio Empowerment Resource Center at IIMC, and also he has been the senior consulting editor with Doordarshan. He also plays a pivotal role in introducing innovative programs like including the Speed News, Vartavali, the first Sanskrit television news magazine, Good News India, positive news from across the country, India First, a strategy and defense-based program, and Do Took, a political debating platform besides DD's first Android-enabled app. Sir has been a media educator since his media days. He has served as I already mentioned, as visiting professor and courses in charge of communication skill, even at the Special Center for Disaster Management, Jawaharlal Nehru University. He's been an adjunct professor with the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research and Institute of National Importance established by an Act of Parliament. He has also served earlier as Makhanlal Chaturvedi, National University of Journalism adjunct professor. And he's a resource person for various training programs at Indian Institute of Public Administration, Consortium of Educational Communication, UGC, National Institute of Disaster Management, and many such. He's a think tank of the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts and Culture. He was designated Commonwealth Youth Ambassador for Peace and Commonwealth Youth Program Asia. With such a rich professional cross-media experience of over 3 decades, Professor Suresh is also the recipient of Prem Bhatia Fellowship for Research in Media by Young Journalist. A postgraduate in mass communication, Professor Suresh also successfully completed a public health journalism experiential course at the University of Oxford, United Kingdom. He has been a TED speaker. He's been a widely traveled scholar, and he has chaired the international jury of 4th Woodpecker International Film Festival 2016, and he's also been the jury of National Media Award, UNICEF Media Fellowship, and many such likes of such. Professor Suresh has addressed many national international conferences, including the prestigious Jhavarmal Annual National Conference. There have been various conferences in various across international platforms also, like the 5th Forum of UNAOC at Vienna, Austria, Asian Youth Leadership Summit, Japan, India-Japan Global Partnership Summit in Tokyo, September 2011. These are very few that I'm naming. It's if I continue, there are a lot of such conferences and such platforms that Sir has been part of. Sir has been an extensively traveled scholar across India as well as across the world. He's been to Afghanistan, he's been to Pakistan, China, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Qatar, Mauritius, South Africa, among others. Sir, it gives me an extremely, it fills my heart and gives an extreme pleasure to me that I welcome you to this 2-week online interdisciplinary refresher course. This is our day 1, and your lecture is the 2nd technical session. And I welcome you on behalf of my team and the entire organizing committee. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Sir would be speaking on media literacy in curriculum. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Syed Mubin Zehra. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. Clear.
I don't know whether he's present there, my friend and the principal, Professor Gyantosh Kumar Jha Sahab. Please convey my regards to him also.
Yes, sir.
And always a pleasure. I have had the opportunity to, I'm also a product of Delhi University. In fact, I studied in the college next door, Sri Venkateshwara College. And I used to see ARSD every day. And I had the opportunity when I was the Director General at IIMC. I had visited the ARSD College a couple of times.
Yes, sir.
And I'm really happy that, you know, the IQAC ARSD College, in collaboration with TLC Ramanujam College. I've visited Ramanujam College also time and again. And even online, the couple of months back, I addressed their conference. So two great institutions coming together to organize an FTP and resource, refresher course on such an important topic. That's quintessential educator challenges and opportunities in a changing world. This is all the more important because we have a national education policy in place where I keep saying that, the NEP 2020 cannot succeed. No government can make it a success. No state, central government, no bureaucrat can make it a success. At the most pivotal role has to be played by the teacher. Only the teacher can make it successful because of its flexibility, because of its the innovation, the focus on critical thinking and problem solving. The role has to be played by the teacher. So teachers is the center of the national education policy. So it's a great event. Now, let me come to my subject, that's media literacy, and which I believe is very important. I hope, Syed, you don't mind if I occasionally sip a cup of tea, because you are not providing me one.
No, sir, you're most welcome to have your own cup of tea, sir.
Now, let me come to the give you a context. We have infodemic right now. Because of this pandemic, there is a phenomena called infodemic. Now, infodemic is an overdose of information. This is an issue which has gathered, I would say, a lot of international agencies, including the UN Secretary General, the UNESCO Director General, WHO. They have all flagged their concern over what is called infodemic, or overdose of information. Now, what is happening is that because of this information overdose, people are unable to distinguish between the wheat and the chaff. This has been described as equally dangerous, if not more, than the pandemic itself. The second part, which is very important, I'll come and deal with it also, and that is the digital part of it. The digital transformation that has taken place. The advent of the social media in a big way. Now, as a consequence, earlier, we used to have the newspaper readers and television viewers and radio listeners as consumers. But what this technological revolution has done or facilitated is that the user has become the generator of the content. So, like when you say that, it's a producer's market, it's a consumer's market. So that means a consumer has choices. In a liberal market, in a liberalized economy, you say that it's a user's, or consumer's market. But what has happened in the media sector is that it's not only become a consumer's market, the consumer has become the producer of the content also. This is the important part. Now, the big question is that, is he trained enough to produce content? What is the kind of produce he or she is producing? Now, what this has led to is that everybody, from housewives to domestic helps to, you name them, there is no segment of society which is not actively involved, not just in using media, but also generating content for the media. Students, senior citizens. I mean, there is this very popular, YouTube channel about a Dadi. Now, this Dadi and Bahu, the spat though that goes on between them, that has become very popular. You have Anupam Kher who talks to his mother, and that has gone viral.
Dulari.
Yes. So, the senior citizens who perhaps have never used this have become generators of content. A lot of people are generating content all over. Now, obviously, what is happening is that, like they say, a bad fish can, really spoil the entire thing. So all those anti-social elements, anti-national elements, regressive elements, fanatic elements, they have also penetrated this media with their own vested interests to promote their own ideologies and agendas. Now that is causing a lot of problems for the society as a whole. What the pandemic has done is that while political propaganda has always been there, since the days of Chanakya, we have, been hearing in his Artha Shastra, the need for, creating, an information system to the psi wars or the psychological warfare in modern strategic, parlance. Today, and to the Hitler, his Goebbelsian propaganda. But what has happened today is that today it is directly impacting the citizens, which was not the case earlier. Maybe during elections, there was an attempt to influence votes. There may be an attempt here or there to foment trouble between communities and all that. But what has now happened is that the impact is directly on the health of the people. People are being fed all kinds of information, so much so that in his Man Ki Baat in June, the Prime Minister spoke to a villager in Betul district of my state, Madhya Pradesh, and asked him why he was not getting vaccinated. And this vaccine hesitancy, to a great extent, has been caused by this bombardment of information. All kinds of information is there. Now, there are two kinds of information which we need to know. I'm sure most of our teachers know. One is misinformation and another is disinformation. Misinformation is when I pass on an information, but I think that it is true. I believe that it is true, or I think that it is in public interest. It is in the interest of my relatives, my friends. I will give you an example. I'm sure most of you came across that small, whoever uses a WhatsApp, that WhatsApp message, which went viral during the COVID-19 second wave, that if you put 2 drops of lemon juice in your nostrils, you will get cured of corona. Now imagine, wish that was true. we would not have lost so many fellow citizens, so many human beings, if it was just as simple as putting 2 drops of, lemon juice into your nostrils. Now, when a lot of people received it, they immediately shared it. I still remember during that second wave, I had I had some cold or something like that, or a headache. At that time, any cold or headache was considered, so dangerous. And there is this friend of mine who is a senior police officer. He told me that, "Arey, don't worry, don't worry. You just take lemon juice, put it 2 drops in your hand, nothing will happen to you." He's a senior IPS officer. Now, obviously, as a former journalist, my question to him was that, "आपने डाला है नाक में?" So he said, "नहीं नहीं, मैंने नहीं डाला, मेरे पास वीडियोस हैं." So he became a victim of this campaign, and that is called infodemic. So this misinformation is there. So when you get an information, you forward it, you like it, you share it, you tweet it, you retweet it, because you think that it is right, it is good, it is in the interest of my friends, relatives, so let me share with them. So his intention was not to harm me. His intention was to help me. But because he was not aware, then there is disinformation. Now, what is disinformation? Disinformation is a planned, deliberate, conscious exercise. It can be a political, strategic, cyber. It can be anything. It can be a campaign by a group called anti-vaccinators, who are in every country and who don't want vaccines. They describe every disease as, they think that every disease has been created by the pharma industry, and the whole idea is to benefit the pharma industry. That is one theory that they propagate. And even during the HIV/AIDS also, at that time also, they called it a big, pharma industry thing. So they say that it is there. So they will always be there. So much so that all kinds of theories. I was a member of the World Health Organization Polio Communication Review. I had traveled along with international experts from Finland and other countries to vaccine resistance areas, including Western Uttar Pradesh, including Hooghly in Bengal. And there also people were made victims of disinformation, wherein it was stated that this entire polio drops, Do Boond Zindagi Ka, was an American conspiracy targeting a specific population, and that this was aimed at, if these drops are administered, the children would become infertile. Similar things were talked about the current vaccines also. In fact, a senior journalist friend of mine working in Amar Ujala, he's the state editor of the Uttarakhand edition, he told me that his reporters used to send him reports about how this vaccination can lead to impotency. This was a theory which was floated. So obviously, the moment you say impotence, immediately, there will be resistance. These kind of theories were floated all around. I'm sure many of you would recall that during this pandemic, one interesting thing went viral. People like us were laughing, but many of them took it seriously. That post attributed a statement to a Nobel laureate saying that anybody taking the vaccine will die exactly within 2 years. This went viral all over the country. And please remember, this is not a phenomena confined to India. In United States, in Canada, in many European countries, infodemic has wreaked havoc. And you can imagine what kind of havoc it can have in a country with a huge semi-literate and illiterate population like ours. If that is the condition of advanced countries, you can imagine the ramifications in a country like ours. Let us not go by only that they are only semi-literate or illiterate. I was listening to Devi Shetty. Devi Shetty is one of the most renowned cardiologists in the country. He is chairman of the COVID Advisory Committee in Karnataka. And he runs an organization, a hospital chain called Narayana Hrudayalaya. Highly decorated doctor. They have a hospital in Delhi also, Dharamshila Narayana. This gentleman was saying that in his locality, in Bangalore, ultra modern Bangalore, the Silicon Valley of India, in plush upmarket area where his hospital is located, he said there were only 50% takers for vaccines. Why? Hesitancy. Vaccine hesitancy. Now, this is because, so that means that it is not confined to literate, illiterate, or semi-literates. This infodemic has made even the affluent, educated elite as its victims. I know of my fellow journalists, fellow teachers who did not get themselves vaccinated in the initial phase. They were also scary, so scared कि what would happen to them. Let us wait and watch. ये पड़ोसी ने लगाया है, 1 महीने बाद देखते हैं. अगर ये ठीक है तो तब तो लगाएंगे. They delayed. In the process, many of them got infected. And many of them got their visas also. Now, this is something that we need to understand. This impact of infodemic where you are not able to, it creates such a misconception in the minds of the people about health related issues. Now, political propaganda was there, I said. But this has a direct impact on the health of the citizen, like nothing else has. When people start believing in it, and this is not just related to, COVID-19. It is about a lot of other stuff that is happening. And this information that needs to be authenticated. And let me not blame the social media alone. I remember a few years back in the newspapers, there was an article which said that if pregnant women eat chocolates, they will produce happy babies. So every caring husband started bringing bag loads of chocolates and forcibly fed their wives so that there can be happy babies. Because it appeared in some journal somewhere in the world, it was reproduced verbatim So obviously the chocolate lobby benefited from it. Who benefited? The chocolate lobby planted these stories. Every lobby plants stories to suit them, their product, that this is good, and it gets planted. So, but the naive reader and the naive citizen, he or she is the most vulnerable. They fall prey. So then what is the solution? The solution is media literacy. And that is the topic that has been given to me. If you are not media literate, and what is media literacy? Is it something for media students? No. Media education is there for media students. But media literacy is for the common man. Everybody should know about the media. Because perhaps nothing in this world can match the reach of the media. Media is there in your drawing room. Media is there in your bedroom. Media is there in your boardroom. Media is there everywhere. It is all pervasive. All permeating. From 5-year-old children to 95-year-old citizens are exposed to media like never before. And following this pandemic, what has happened is that today the entire humanity has got exposed to media like never before. Now, by media, am I referring only to news media? No. When I talk about media, I'm talking about entertainment, I'm talking about sports, I'm talking about economy, I am talking about education, I'm talking about every aspect of life. Certainly a 5-year-old child is not watching news. But the 5-year-old child is attending classes. And when he is attending classes, he is also attending a lot of other things on his mobile phones. He or she is today exposed to a high level of pornography, cyberbullying. There is a dark net about which the child, forget the child, even the parents are not aware of. I have been interacting with NGOs who tell me that in conservative families, adolescent girls are not able to talk about the changes in their body to their parents, as a result of which these young girls are talking to friendly agony aunts who are in most cases males pretending to be females, who befriend them on the net and ask them to show their body parts. And once they show it, they record it, and then they start blackmailing these kids. This is happening. A lot of law enforcement agencies and NGOs are working on it, because the girl children are not able to share their feelings and sentiments with anybody in their family, either due to conservatism or because the mothers are working, they don't have time to attend and they cannot share it with male members. In Ahmedabad, a girl's cousin saw his cousin's nude pictures in a porn site. But he was shocked, though he knew that he will get he will get a dressing down for visiting that site. But when he saw his cousin sister's photographs there, that was when this entire scandal came to light. He informed his parents, and they in turn informed the police. And then this girl, she was dying from inside. Then only she said that she was being blackmailed because she accepted a friend request, and then she started communicating with that person. You do not know, when you are not there, whom your child is communicating with. Today there are different games through which they are connecting. They are connecting and playing games with many unknown people. We are busy with our office routines, our domestic course. But the child is getting exposed like anything. There are a lot of pedophiles who are there in the dark net. Now, even the parents are not aware of the dark net. The same is happening to teenagers, adolescents, who are becoming vulnerable to a lot of fundamentalist terrorist outfits who are using the net to recruit young people. Youngsters from a highly educated state like Kerala, they had the highest number of recruitments in India, not Kashmir, Kerala. They had the highest recruitment to IS. Through what? Through internet. This is the kind of stuff that is going on. All kinds of fake IDs, fake handles. People are being, every day I read reports in Bhopal newspapers, or how even very successful businessmen have been duped by people whom they befriend on the net. All kinds of claims, all kinds of, financial frauds are happening. Cyber crime cells are there in every district police today. So through these platforms, what is media? Media is not just print media, electronic media, social media, digital media. Media means any medium through which mass is being communicated to. That's mass communication. So I remember when we introduced sex education in schools, we used to teach students about good touch and bad touch. I think we also need to teach them about good content and bad content. There is a lot of fake content which is circulating in media. Lot of fake content. How to check them? Images are being morphed. Audio is being doctored. Videos are being manipulated. Distorted content is being circulated. Pictures from Afghanistan and Iraq are being shown as pictures from Kashmir and Chhattisgarh. How do you recognize them as a layman, or do you get carried away? What happened few years back in Bangalore? Students from Northeast had to flee because of morphed pictures. They had to run away from there. That kind of sentiment was created. And where were these pictures from? These pictures were from Myanmar, not from India, not from Northeast. But they were morphed and put across. Lynchings have taken place across the country. People have been labeled as child abductors and killed. Religious people have been killed. All kinds of rumors are floated. It has become a tool to declare women as witches in the rural areas. Diane. And then they are killed and their property seized. This is how this media, no doubt, I am not against social media or digital media. In fact, I have always believed that digital media and social media has democratized the platform. It has become a voice of the voiceless. But at the same time, we should be aware that if untrained people, unskilled people use it, the kind of consequences that can happen. And that is what media literacy is all about. The entire focus of what I discussed with you was to emphasize on the importance of media literacy. Because there is a difference between watching film and appreciating a film. Similarly, there is a difference between watching content on media and understanding content on the media. They say that if you go to a film shooting, then you will not feel like watching a film. That is what they say. Because then you see how the takes, the retakes, how you think that the superhero has been fighting it out, whereas it is not the superhero, but somebody else, a stuntman who is doing that. Then you realize, oh, this is the hero. So it's a duplicate who would be doing it. So similarly, it is important that you know what is media. How does it work? If you know this, for example, if you know that there is an image which has come on my mobile phone, how do I check whether it is correct or not? There is a process called, which is a very simple process, called reverse image search. You drag the image to Google and do an image search. Then you will exactly come to know from where it has been, picked up and then presented to you as something else. There are many other things to check. Fact checking is important. So fact checking is an integral part. So many rumors, so many things. Some media channels have started programs to check facts. The programs like Viral Search and all that. But how many facts can they check? They may pick up 5 stories and do research. But there are 5 million stories which are being put on your social media. How do you deal with them? So there is only one way. For the last, man, maybe that is the reason why my friend Dr. Mubin invited me. I have been calling for a national media literacy mission in this country.
Yes, sir.
This national media literacy mission, like National Literacy Mission, NLM or Rashtriya Saksharta Abhiyan, the Media Saksharta Abhiyan has to be launched. And right from school curriculum, media literacy has to be an integral part. So that even our children know what they are dealing with. We cannot deny technology for long. Please. We used to keep mobile phones out of our classrooms. And today we are giving mobile phones to our children, our students. Please use it so that you can study. Parents are buying mobile phones for their children. That is the only gift they ask for birthday. Give me a good iPhone. Give me a good OnePlus. Huh? So today they are asking for that. Everybody needs a mobile phone. Everybody. You will find a rickshaw puller also. He is lying on his rickshaw and he is busy with his smartphone. Everybody is doing that. But are they aware of what is coming in? I'll wind this up with a small story. There was this personal staff of mine who one day suddenly asked me कि साहब आपने इंद्र का घोड़ा देखा है क्या? You won't enjoy it if I translate it into English. He said कि आपने इंद्र का घोड़ा देखा है? Have you seen Indra's horse? I said, so far as I know, Indra used to travel by Airavat only, the white elephant. Maybe now he has started traveling by horse, but where did you see? He said that it is there in the clouds. I have got the video. And he showed me a video in which actually using animation technology, somebody has, the lightning has been given the shape, amidst the clouds. The lightning was given the shape of a horse and it was galloping through the clouds. Now, this was a harmless video, but imagine the power of that. If the same technology, the same animation can be utilized to manipulate, distort facts, and lead to riots. Because people are vulnerable. They are not equipped to handle with this kind of thing. They are not aware of technology. So they fall victim to pornography, to propaganda, to recruitment, to brainwashing. All this happens. So media literacy is very important. So right from school curriculum, we need to have right up to college curriculum. In every university, college, wherever you are working, please don't consider media literacy as a course for media students, whether you have a media department or not. Every student should be trained in media literacy. They should know the basics of media literacy. And today, under the national education policy, there is a choice-based credit system where the students can have media literacy as one of the electives, one of the options. So why don't we create content for that? So that every student gets the opportunity. In fact, in school also, they should know what is media. How does it work? What is the mechanism of media? How is content produced? What all things can be done? What is the difference between a trained reporter and another person, an untrained one? How do you distinguish between the two? What are the media platforms which are available? How to distinguish between an obscure, unknown site which can give a very sensational news and a responsible site? So the ABC of media, understanding media basic technology, content, structure, organization should be given to all the students. We are going through a very revolutionary phase in technology. Technology is changing by the day. Today is the time for, you would say that, for creating awareness, because we are being carpet bombed by information from all sides. How to distinguish the wheat from the chaff, how to make a difference, how to differentiate, how to make out the difference. This is important because it is not just about truth and falsehood. It is about the lives of the people. That is important. That is something that you will have to remember. Because if wrong information is given, people can consume anything, not consume the necessary medicines that is required, not take the precautions. It can have a direct bearing on your health, on the society, on the country as a whole. So I believe that, I think that I have already spoken for about an hour, 45 minutes or 50 minutes. So Dr. Syed, I can continue, but I think that there are questions and answers also, a session,
Yes, sir.
Q&A session also.
A lot of questions coming.
So yeah, so I would love to address them. So very in short, thank you for giving me an opportunity to address the esteemed faculty members and research scholars from across the country. And I'm sure that they will take this in all seriousness, and they can stay connected through my social media handles. I put out a lot of stuff on media related issues, so they can keep themselves updated if this subject is of interest to them. And it would be an honor to come to your platform again whenever you invite me, because it is important that awareness is the key. We need to create awareness about media. That is very important. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for such an interesting and such a simplified way of making us understand the nuances, the current situation, and introducing us to the threat, also the kind of the concept of infodemic, the word infodemic. I think that was such an interesting way you put it. I'm getting a lot of questions here, sir, and I'll just start with the first question in order of appearance. दिस इज बाय डॉक्टर गोपाल कुमार। वो कहते हैं, आपने खुलकर ऐसे विषयों पर बात की जिन विषयों पर भारतीय समाज में खुलकर बात नहीं की जाती। आपने स्कूल में सेक्स एजुकेशन की बात की। आपने बताया कि जब बच्चों को अपने पेरेंट्स से जानकारियां नहीं मिलती तो वे इंटरनेट पर मौजूद अनजान लोगों से जानकारियां प्राप्त करने का प्रयास करते हैं। कृपया इस बारे में मार्गदर्शन कीजिए या देने का कष्ट करें कि बच्चे या बड़े इस बारे में कैसे पहल कर सकते हैं कि बच्चे दिग्भ्रमित ना हो। Is it bewildered or what? दिग्भ्रमित ना हो, तो इसके बारे में
confused people
confused, yes
confused, yes,
yeah.
No, thank you. आपका बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न है, और मेरा ये मानना है कि देखिए, अब पेरेंट्स के सोच को बदलना इस व्यापक स्तर पर वो शायद संभव नहीं है, लेकिन अगर हमने जागरूकता पैदा किया इस विषय को लेकर, मीडिया लिटरेसी को लेकर, हमारा उद्देश्य यह है कि हम चाहते हैं कि पेरेंट्स और खुलें, समाज ओपन रहे कि बच्चों के जो हर प्रश्न है उसको, वरना हम डांट देते हैं, अरे हर चीज पर सवाल पूछता है। वो उसके बजाय अगर वो सवाल पूछता है तो उस सवाल का जवाब देने का हम लोग प्रयास करें, और उसके अंदर सवाल पूछने की एक प्रवृत्ति होनी चाहिए, उसको चुप नहीं कराना चाहिए, ये मैं समझता हूँ। क्योंकि जब वो सवाल पूछेगा तभी हालात बदलेंगे समाज में, देश में, हर जगह। तो ये बहुत आवश्यक है सवाल पूछना। तभी विज्ञान में सवाल पूछते हैं, ऐसा क्यों है, ऐसा क्यों नहीं है, तभी वैज्ञानिक क्रांतियां आती है। तो इसलिए सवाल पूछना जरूरी है, वो माहौल तो बनाना है। लेकिन मीडिया लिटरेसी के दृष्टिकोण से मैं समझता हूं कि हमारा उद्देश्य है कि कम से कम बच्चा सही जगह जाके पूछे। उसको पता होना चाहिए कि मुझे इस प्लेटफॉर्म में ये चाइल्ड लाइन का हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स है, यहां जाकर जाने में मुझे मिल जाएगा सूचना, बल्कि यहां जाने में मुझे खतरा भी है। अगर ये मैं मीडिया लिटरेसी के थ्रू उसको बता सकता हूं, आई थिंक आई हैव सक्सीडेड इन दैट। फॉर एग्जांपल, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के ही चाइल्ड वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के चाइल्ड वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट्स के चाइल्ड हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स हैं, एनजीओस हैं जो इस पर काम कर रही हैं, तो हम उन पर अगर अवेयरनेस कि आपको इधर जाना चाहिए, ये नहीं कि कोई भी वेबसाइट में कहीं भी आपने गूगल कर दिया और चले गए, आपको ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए। तो ऐसे मीडिया लिटरेसी का उद्देश्य है कि उनको अवेयर कराना कि लुक, ऐसे लोग भी हैं मीडिया, मतलब आपको प्लेटफॉर्म ऑनलाइन मिलेंगे और ऐसे लोग भी मिलेंगे। बिकॉज ऑफन इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ नॉलेज, हमें जानकारी नहीं है कि ऐसे लोग भी हैं, इन द, बिकॉज दे आर चिल्ड्रन, they are vulnerable. Young minds हैं, उनको they take people on face value. कोई सामने आके empathy दिखाता है तो उनको लगता है कि ये मेरा दोस्त है. उन्होंने दुनिया देखी नहीं है कि हर किस्म के लोग हैं इस नेट में, इंटरनेट में. सो हमको उसके बारे में जानकारी देना है. टू बी अलर्ट, don't get exposed. Many people will send friend request, many people will kind of pretend to be have fake IDs. तो उनको उस मीडिया लिटरेसी उनको देने से they will be, वो कहते हैं ना कि enlightened citizens. For a democracy you need enlightened citizens because they can make enlightened choices. Similarly, they should make aware and enlightened choices as a media consumer. जानकारी लेकर जो है उनको जानना चाहिए कि पब्लिक हेल्थ रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन है, तो मुझे कहाँ जाना चाहिए, मुझे इसके बारे में कहाँ जाना चाहिए, how should I avoid falling into a trap, what should I do with a what are the things that I should keep in mind when I am using a credit card or a debit card. I think that these are things, very simple things, but we need to incorporate that in our education system.
Yeah, very, very nicely put it. There is, I think, something that Dr. Pramita Mishra wants to add, and I think we can add this. She says that in NEP we have provision of mentoring classes. I think we can use these sessions for this kind of awareness in our students. So she's just a view that she has put.
Absolutely.
Dr.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and so Professor Suresh, there are a lot of chat box में बहुत messages हैं that is by our participants who are very happy with your lecture, and a lot of compliments coming your way. I'm sure you can read them. You can read them yourself also. There's one question by Kuljit Kaur. She asks that please give us methods to teach our children about media literacy. I think she's trying to, what are the ways where we can increase media literacy among our children or students? Maybe that, I think that's what she's trying to ask.
Yeah, obviously, there are modules and we need to, get into, we are also in the process of preparing modules for that. But the basic idea is that, we should expose them to all kinds of media, in the sense that students don't read, these days people don't read newspapers. It's a problem even with media students. So let them start reading newspaper, because even today, of all the papers, of all the media, it is the print media which still retains some sort of credibility and reliability, because please remember that on a television channel, if you make a flash, you can remove it in the next second. Similarly, if you put out something on the digital media, you can remove it. But the printed word, once it is printed, so a lot of checks and balances are there. There is a very strong editorial process. There is a strong filtration process through which media content, newspaper content is generated. So post-COVID, you see that there is an increasing trust factor when it comes to printed media, print media, as against electronic and digital media. And that is one reason that our Indian media has bucked the global trend. Unlike the Western countries where print media is virtually winding up and they are going online. In India, the media has the print media has not only survived but is showing projections which are growth oriented. So I think that this is because of the credibility factor. So I think we need to tell them to read newspapers. We need to tell them to watch diverse content also. It is important. Right. Diversity is very important. Yes. What happens generally is that in a family, you get to read one newspaper, watch one TV channel, and then you start speaking like that channel or talking like that newspaper. So it is important that we tell our students, children to read as many papers, watch as many channels. This is also important, because otherwise that diversity of views, that doesn't come, that plurality, that doesn't come. They tend to speak like one, that the other side of the story also needs to be told. It is a fact that media has got polarized, so the best thing is that you get diversity in your reading. That is important. In your watch, what you view, what you listen to, that is important. And this is part of media education, that you get exposed to a diverse content. That is important. So a parental support is required. It cannot be done on its own. At least during the young days, you need parental guidance, on what is to be seen and what is not to be seen. When you the kind of language that is used, all this makes a lot of difference. Yes.
Yes, Professor Suresh, thank you. There is sir is here. Our honorable principal sir
Oh
is
yes,
here.
I can see him. नमस्कार.
कैसे हैं सर?
बढ़िया. मैं अभी आपको याद कर रहा था जी.
मैं सुन रहा था और वो कैमरा मेरा ऑफ था, लेकिन मैं आपके साथ जुड़ा हुआ था पूरे लेक्चर में.
जी धन्यवाद.
तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मेरी ओर से, आपने समय दिया हमारे कॉलेज के लिए, हमारे प्रोग्राम के लिए.
थैंक यू. ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर.
तो
बहुत ही सार्थक और प्रासंगिक कार्यक्रम आपने आयोजित किया.
जी.
आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई.
थैंक यू. मैंने कोशिश की है कि अभी न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के उसमें जो चेंजेज आएंगे उसी को लेकर के इसका डिजाइन किया है.
बिल्कुल अलग विषय है. मतलब अभी भी मैं एपीएस यूनिवर्सिटी रीवा में अभी लेक्चर से निकला ही हूँ आपके यहाँ. वहाँ नैक एक्रेडिटेशन वगैरह पर था.
अच्छा.
ये बिल्कुल ही अलग एक विषय था आपका.
बिल्कुल. थैंक यू.
और रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी पर चलता है. बाकी मैक्सिमम जगह में तो रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी.
जी.
लेकिन आपने कुछ एक अलग ही विषय दिया. बहुत बढ़िया.
थैंक यू. आप जैसे विद्वानों को और वक्ताओं को सुनना एक सुखद अनुभूति है, और आपने बहुत ही ज्ञानवर्धक वक्तव्य दिया, जिससे मैं समझता हूं कि सभी प्रतिभागी और मैं स्वयं लाभान्वित हूं. और मैं तो आपका विशेष रूप से प्रशंसक हूं, क्योंकि जब आप दिल्ली में होते थे तो कॉलेज में भी आकर के आपने हम लोगों का मार्गदर्शन किया है, और अभी भी आप हमेशा मेरे
आएंगे तो जरूर आपसे मिलने तो आएंगे आपके साथ. ये
जरूर.
चाहे तो ड्यू है आपका.
बिल्कुल. तो थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू.
ओवर टू मूविंग.
थैंक यू सर. सर कुछ क्विक एक दो क्वेश्चंस हैं और कुछ कमेंट्स भी हैं. वी कैन जस्ट टेक दैट. This is from Dr. Shubha Dwivedi. She's saying, great lecture, sir. As educators, it's important for us to think. मैं थोड़ा जल्दी बोलूँगी क्योंकि questions ले लें हम ज़्यादा. Great lecture, sir. As educators, it's important for us to think that what are we processing. But sometimes while aligning with government and agenda, we ignore individual rights to security, religion, ethnicity, liberty. And many give in to entertainment-driven agenda. What can be done to maintain sanity and balance? The ideal recourse to the matter. I think जो आप बोल रहे थे बात वही diversity वाली बात. I think she's trying to ask that only. Probably that is what she's trying to ask. Or I'll just take
almost one more thing, because this is a related topic. I just wanted to say that we need to create awareness in the society that, please remember how the economy of the media works. It works on 70% of the funding is through advertisements. The revenue model is advertisement. Only 30% you get through circulation. Now, and in many cases, it's 80 to 20%. Now, who does this 80% funding? They are corporates, they are governments. So obviously, you see, there is an economic compulsion also, where what has happened is that media was a service before independence. Now it has become an out and out business. Now, once it has become business and profit has become the main motive, what has happened is that it is the advertiser, whether it is the private sector or the government, who calls the shots. So when you are being paid 80% by somebody, you will start speaking in their language. Don't expect them to talk in your language. You are only paying 20 paise of that 1 rupee. So what we also need to have a change in mindset. We don't mind paying 400 rupees for a packet of popcorn in a cinema hall, but we want to pay only 4 rupees for a newspaper which costs us 40 rupees.
Right,
the production cost of a newspaper is 40 rupees and you buy it for 4 rupees. Who pays for 36 rupees? Whoever pays takes the cake.
Right.
This is media literacy. When people talk about कि ये आम आदमी की बात नहीं करता है, आम आदमी 4 रुपए देता है, खास आदमी 36 रुपए देता है. ये economics है, simple economics है.
Interesting. Mhm.
So we should know that, you know, then what is the way out? There are trusts like Press Trust of India, Tribune, Samaj. These are run by trusts. The cooperative model is there. Then you have crowd-funded platforms. A lot of platforms are there. So I think that like we are paying for, हमें कोई गुरेज नहीं है अपने मोबाइल में नेटफ्लिक्स हम ले लेंगे 180 रुपए देकर. अरे भाई कोई इंडिपेंडेंट मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म को भी सपोर्ट कर लो, तो तभी जाकर जो है आपको वो इंडिपेंडेंट मीडिया भी मिलेगा. ये भी मीडिया लिटरेसी का एक इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है which we need to understand.
Right, so thank you, sir. So there is one interesting question with some kind of background also this person has given, our participant Ramesh Kumarji. He says in 70s there was a book called Bastram, was very popular among adolescents, adult Diane wage prevalence that time.
It was pornography.
Yeah, he's talking about that. So he's saying that Goody film made for the movie, the only movie we cannot change with media literacy, but the attitude of human tendency. Now what he's asking is, I listened radio report in 1980, you Vani, about sex abuse by relative. There was a rumor that gave milk to Ganesha. Question is, who makes the content? Now what he's trying to ask, I'll just mention the question. Most of the things are prevailing in society, not these days, but in early when there was no media at all. So, I mean, I think he's trying to ask this, that how do we keep track of this content, because ये सारी चीजें तो पहले भी थी. जैसे हम कहते हैं इंसान की फितरत तो नहीं बदली है, इंसान तो पहले भी वही था.
मैं मना नहीं कर रहा हूँ, पहले नहीं था. हाँ. The volume has increased.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, right.
Please understand what the technology has done is it is now into a force multiplier.
Accessibility, yes, right.
हाँ.
जी.
Accessibility मतलब अभी अब गांव पहले होता था वे अखबार पढ़ेंगे, पढ़े लिखे लोग पढ़ेंगे, टीवी देखेंगे जो जिनके पास पैसा है टीवी खरीदने के लिए
जी.
और उसके बाद जो है ना, आज आपके घर घर में ये इंफॉर्मेशन जा रहा है.
जी सर.
So when the volume has increased, the challenges have increased. You see, आप अखबार को तो आप लिमिटेड सर्कुलेशन रोक सकते थे, कहीं गलत छप गया आपने उसको रोक दिया. टीवी प्रोग्राम्स को आप इसको कैसे रोकेंगे आप, और कौन रोकेगा? क्या सरकारें रोकेंगी क्या? 1975 तो हमारे सामने है, हमने देख लिया है, तो वो तो नहीं करने देना है. Then who does it? How to control? The only way is to make the people aware. उनको रियलाइज होना चाहिए. एंड हाँ, सोसाइटल चेंज तो, माइंडसेट चेंज तो आवश्यक है, तभी तो ये मीडिया लिटरेसी की आवश्यकता है. कैसे होगा माइंडसेट चेंज? कोई कानून पास करके तो माइंडसेट चेंज नहीं होगा. कानून तो डाउरी के खिलाफ भी, डाउरी प्रोहिबिट, आज भी डाउरी की वजह से लोगों को मारे जाते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
यू नो, तो कानून के बनने से तो नहीं होगा. निर्भया केस के बाद बहुत कड़ा कानून बना, लेकिन क्या आज भी रेप्स एंड मॉलेस्टेशंस नहीं हो रहे हैं क्या? हो रहे हैं. सो कानून इज नॉट द सॉल्यूशन. द सॉल्यूशन इज टू मेक पीपल sensitive, to make people aware, to make people, so that is the key. तो ये हमें समझना पड़ेगा. साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट ये लोगों के अंदर लाना पड़ेगा, तब जाके सुपरस्टिशन से बाहर आएंगे. हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कहा है कि साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट बनाना है, ये हमारा जिम्मेदारी है. आर वी बिल्डिंग दैट साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट? दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट.
आपकी जो बात है सर, उसी को और आगे बढ़ाते हुए, देयर इज दिस पर्सन, डॉक्टर, just a minute, sir. A lot of questions coming and a lot of comments. I'm just trying to, yeah. Monica Puri hai, wo kehti hai very simple way of expression and explain nicely. And I think she is also asking that how can we be part of that mission? I think you very rightly mentioned in the very beginning. So she wants to know that how can we be part of this mission, media literacy mission, I think she's trying to ask.
Please start talking about it everywhere, wherever you go, and impress upon your managements, your authorities, you know, your school authority, your college authorities, your university authorities, to start these sessions.
Right.
I think that is the only way. There is no organizational setup. You know, it is a one-man mission. It cannot, you know, I mean, absolutely, everybody has to join in, and there is no structure. We all have to work. We have to create awareness. That is the only objective.
we also have an educator who's also, this is Dr. Meena Teotia. She says, very sensitive topic, sir. You discussed, thank you very much. Being a mother, I'm always scared how to take care of my kids. It will be very beneficial and protective if we included it in curriculum. I think she's,
Absolutely.
yes,
Yes.
she's all.
You understood. I mean, this is the importance, you know, we need to, because we cannot be monitoring the child all the time, 24/7 into 365. You know, they are into so many groups, so they are into so many, and what are they doing exactly? Can you stay with them for all the 6 hours they are on, you know, on the laptop or on the, you cannot. They are chatting, they are discussing. How do you ensure? Only way is to tell them. Like I gave the example of good touch and bad touch.
Right.
Like our previous one of the question came, it's a fact. NCRB, National Crime Reports Bureau, it's a statistic, it's a fact that most of the girl children are, you know, molested by immediate relatives.
Yes,
This is reality.
89%,
This is
89%
reality.
almost.
Yeah. Now, but we try to brush it under the carpet saying that wo to chacha hai, wo to tau hai, wo this hai, mamu hai. You know, we try to do that. Now, if the parents don't become aware, if we are not going to tell the children about good touch and bad touch, you know, when an elderly relative comes and makes them sit on the girl, makes the girl child to sit on their lap, you know, we cannot stop that. But we can tell the child that this is good touch and this is bad touch. Similarly, when it comes to usage of media, I can also, I mean, I was in an Amritsar school before this pandemic, and there a child asked me that, sir, कितना टाइम इंटरनेट में स्पेंड करना चाहिए? तो मैंने पलट के पूछा कि आप टॉयलेट में कितना टाइम स्पेंड करते हो? तो उन्होंने कह दिया 15 मिनट्स। मैंने कह दिया बाथरूम में कितना टाइम स्पेंड करते हो? कह दिया 20 मिनट्स। मैंने कह दिया ब्रश करने में और बाकी चीज करने में कितना टाइम स्पेंड करते हो? कह दिया कि 15 मिनट्स। तो मैंने कह दिया जब हर चीज के लिए टाइम फिक्स है, इसके लिए टाइम क्यों नहीं है फिक्स? ये कभी भी किसी भी टाइम आंख खुलते ही शुरू हो जाता है और रात को आंख बंद होने तक क्यों चलता है? जब हर चीज का टाइम फिक्स है, इसको भी टाइम फिक्स होना चाहिए या नहीं होना चाहिए? उसने कह दिया बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। मैंने कहा आप टाइम फिक्स करो। सो यू नो, यू हैव टू टेल देम इन अ वे दैट दे अंडरस्टैंड. So I was told by their parents, subsequently, that now there is a change, in the child's behavior. Now she has a fixed time for that. So we need to tell them in a language, but children will get exposed to these things.
Right, sir. So there is a very detailed question, one question coming. I think I should take this question. Just a minute. This is, this is a question by Aditya Kaushal. I'll just read out what he has written. When we emphasize the morphed, false or manipulated nature of the information we get online, we tend to begin with the premises that there is an unadulterated, pure or object truth out there. As we know that in all times and spaces that the knowledge which is seen worthy of being called legitimate or truth is always used as an instrument of power by ideologies or governments and all kinds of vested interests. How in this post-truth age, the National Media Literacy Mission is going to assure that the information or knowledge facilitated by it is not carrying the seeds of any kind of ideology and furnishes the truth in its purest form? He also has a part 2 of this question. I'll just come to that also, so that, part 2 is with regard to post-truth society. While talking about pornography, dark web and spurious news, is it always the case that the consumer is always a victim or dupes of the media? Don't you think that to some degree we subscribe or consume the content which we like rather than which we find true? So probably his concern is about the, the
I got it.
I think you get the question. Yeah, right, sir. Ji.
No, what I have to say is that, you see, for me, when I am talking about National Media Literacy Mission, I know that I am not talking about neutral, objective content here. I am talking about making my children, my girl children, safe from the content which can harm them, which can damage them. That is my problem. I am not saying that the other content is totally truthful, or I'm not getting into that at all. There is on the one hand, there is harmful content which can create violence, which can create hatred, which can create, that has to be, out and out rejected. And that is through usage of technology, including morphing. So if you are able to identify that this is a morphed photograph, at least somebody cannot mislead you. If you say that how to identify a doctored video or a manipulated video or a fake story, fake content, then you would know that the opposite of fake is not truth. For me, I do not know whether it is truth or not. What is happening in Afghanistan, what is truth, I do not know, sitting in Delhi. Okay, but if somebody says that the Taliban is sending its militia to India right now, for me that would be a fake story which I need to expose right now. They may send it later on, but right now, if they do it, if they send a fake story that Indians are being killed or attacked, for me that would be worrisome, because that would have a repercussion in my country. I would be concerned about that. So it depends on the kind of information that is coming. For me, it is not about, what is the truth. I should, my whole idea is that, well, every country, if I get into it, because this is a detailed discussion,
Yes.
everything is Western perspective. We look at things from our Western perspective. Sometimes there is this well-known filmmaker who once said that there is nothing called truth. There are only perspectives. Your perspective, my perspective. The Kauravas looked at, Mahabharata from a different perspective. The Pandavas looked at it from a different perspective. For both of them, it was the truth. Now it's about perspective. And we are not here to judge, sitting in judgment on which perspective is correct or not. What we are trying to say is that this is harmful content which can harm you. Avoid this. This is the only thing that this media literacy mission, we are not in a, in a mission to tell which ideology is better, which political affiliation is better. No, we are not getting into that. We are only saying that this kind of information, how to check facts. For example, that post about a scientist who said that after 2 years of vaccination, you will die. From where did it come? How to verify whether that information is correct or not? For me, my objective is limited. So I am only going to that extent. I am not getting into the, the entire philosophical and other basis of this entire narrative. No, I'm not getting into that. I am only saying that this kind of information can lead to vaccine resistance. For me, it is a scientific thing to get vaccinated. The world over, it has been approved. Now to get into a different tangent altogether, whether vaccination is right at all, is it a pharma industry lobby, is it that? That's not my logic right now. So I am on a limited mission so that you are able to, kind of understand that what is fake content, how to recognize fake content. That is my whole idea.
Yeah, sir, there are a lot of questions and comments coming, but we have this limitation of time. But before that, my just one query, it's not a query, it's kind of an observation that, as educators, sometimes it's like we are quite aware of what is happening around. And I think you're the right person to touch upon this. And sometimes some participants have also asked something around this only, that how do we kind of convey to the students that what is good for them to grasp, because there are a lot of questions. आपने भी कहा अपने वक्तव्य में कि बहुत सवाल होते हैं बच्चों के, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हमें एक लाइन, एक लिमिट बनानी पड़ती है जो हमें लगता है कि इसके आगे इनको इनका जानना या इनका समझना इनके मस्तिष्क के लिए, इनकी सोच के लिए हानिकारक हो सकता है। द काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स दैट यू टच्ड अपॉन, टेररिज्म या जो भी आपने बातें की, तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें वो एक लिमिटेशंस उनको बतानी होती है। तो हाउ टू टैकल दैट विद सम वेरी इंट्रीग्ड माइंड एंड सम स्टूडेंट्स?
No, I would say that, there is a, it depends much. As I told you, the teacher is at the center of everything,
Yes, absolutely.
So I think how diplomatically you can engage that question,
Yeah.
Now, but today's children, please remember that they have more information than you and I have.
Yes, they do come with many
I
information,
cannot
right?
tell them that it is the stork who brings the child home,
Absolutely.
then the child will revert to you and tell you how the child comes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm. So you cannot do that anymore. Please remember,
Mhm.
the difference between the teacher and the student today is not about information. They have perhaps more information than you and me. The difference is in our experience and in the knowledge that we have acquired. That they don't have. They neither have experience nor have knowledge. They have information. They have a lot of information. And it is how I use my knowledge and experience to satiate their curiosity. It depends on me. How tactfully I can please never stop the questioning process.
Absolutely.
But I do it in such a way that they realize that this is not, this is the thing that I should know, and this is something that I need not know, at this juncture. That is the basic thing. But
How nicely put, Professor K.
In countries like Finland, in primary schools, they have started discussing climate change. So they don't say that नहीं ये तुम्हारी उम्र नहीं है अभी climate change के बारे में discuss करने का, वो encourage करते हैं. और इस NEP में भी critical thinking and problem solving, ये दो principal pillars है इस NEP का. Critical thinking को हम कैसे group कर सकते हैं, हम problem solving को कैसे हो सकता है, और उसका सबसे बड़ा तरीका है, बढ़िया तरीका है, discussions. You give them content. It's a flipped classroom, which is the best form. You give them content in advance and let us discuss that. Then there is no room for, if you give them content in advance and that too interesting content, then you will have enough to discuss in the classroom. The curriculum itself would be so interesting in the classroom, if you follow a flipped classroom format.
नहीं, वेरी नाइसली पुट प्रोफेसर के जी. एंड सवाल तो बहुत आ रहे हैं क्योंकि आपने इतना अच्छा मुद्दा जो है, इतनी अच्छी बहस छेड़ी है. और I mean, but since we have some limitations, time limitations, but before conveying my thanks to you, I would like to just mention certain points that you very well put forth. The most important thing that you put forth, and you made us think that teacher is the center of all the activities in education. I think that's very important, and we as teachers, we all should realize it. And then how to instigate the concept of discussion and conveying with having a very good discussion attitude with the student, that is also very important. And what I really liked was your explanation of misinformation and disinformation, that thin line that you very nicely explained. So I'm sure our participants, they are very happy, and I'm getting a lot of good comments and messages in the chat box. And it's always such an honor, sir. And it is always, और मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि अगली बार के लिए आपको, और it's always, we feel that कुछ ना कुछ रह गया है, कुछ और आपसे सुनना बाकी है. So it's so wonderful. And Professor KG, on behalf of my entire team, and on behalf of the college, and on behalf of our honorable principal sir, who's always there guiding us, and his special concern to design this refresher course with all the important nuances, I think that that support from him. And on behalf of all of us, I, the IQAC, Dr. Vinita Tuli, and all my team members, my technical team, and on behalf of all the participants, I, Dr. Syed Mubin Zara, convey my heartfelt thanks for you to take out time from your such a busy schedule. I know you're a very busy person, but you're always so nice and so considerate to accept our invitation. And thank you so much, sir. And we've really gained a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.